All right, family. We on live, big baby. You know, we just politic and build. You know what I'm saying? You want to give a shout out, let people know what your channel is so they can subscribe to you.
Oh yeah. Well, hey Ruhanus, you know how I go on YouTube. Check us out. Spacks over feelings. We ain't posted a video in a minute, but you see we out here collaborating with individuals that have the same mindset. So out here working. Let's get it.
No doubt, that's official. We waiting on my other peoples to pop up. I think I don't know, he might be busy with his young ones at this point in time. Hopefully he'll come back on soon. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But oh, there we go, right there. Okay. Um,
Shit,
move.
my fault, cuz I had to get
Can
back
you
in
hear me,
line.
Cuddy?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hold on. Trying to get this focus. All
Well,
right,
while
you
he
hear me?
gets, huh?
Huh?
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you turn sideways.
Yeah, hold on. Trying to get focused right now.
Okay, I got you. While we're family working on this technical difficulties. Oh, there we go. Okay. Seems like he frozen or something now.
Who?
Cuddy. Don't he look like he
Oh.
froze? But what I'm gonna do while he's working on his end, um, I want to try to touch on a couple points, a couple of issues that's been going on. You know what I'm saying here in the world lately. One, we got the coronavirus. You know what I'm saying, that been a issue. Um, Another issue is going on with this Trump and Biden thing, and I don't know if Trump is talking about Biden did some type of fraudulent act with the ballots, or I want you to go in on that.
Yeah, with the people talking about voting irregularities and the dead votes, all this different stuff. The crux of the matter is this, man. And this is what I think that people should understand is that there's nothing new under the sun, definitely nothing new in American politics. So, I was just having this conversation with somebody earlier, and I was saying that what you have to take a look at is that there are precedents or examples that have already been set to let us know that 5 times in United States history that the president has won the electoral college without winning the popular vote. Once again, 5 times in United States history where the president has won the electoral college without winning the popular vote. And when were those times? That was the election of 1824, election of 1876, election of 1888, the election of 2000, and the election of 2016. Okay? It's 3 times where the vote where it had to go to the House of Representatives to elect the president. That was the election of 1800, the election of 1824, and the election of 1876. Okay, now what we need to take a look at is the election of 1824. The election of 1824 was between Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams. Okay, now what happened was this was the first time where we used the popular vote. Okay, so that's the 10th president being elected. So the first 9 presidents we didn't even select with a popular vote.
Um, Not to cut your wisdom, brother, but just for those who don't know what a electoral college vote is or the popular vote, I would like to expand on that.
Well, the popular vote is basically what everybody took part in to elect the president, the popular vote, because we say that and we hope that the popular vote influences the electoral college to vote in a particular way, but that's not always the case. So what the popular vote is basically what they all, because I didn't vote, I don't vote for the lesser of two evils, but that's what they all took part in. Okay, and so we know that that was not installed until 1824. That's what's important for our understanding. Now, what's even more important, this would have let you know when people were saying, because I heard Candace Owens, get on well, a lot of people get on, what's the guy? He's an old school rapper in New York. I can't believe that his name is slipping me right now. But he had talked
Rakim?
about for college. What'd you say?
You talking about Rakim?
No, not Rakim. Nigga with the dreads, old school rapper.
ARS-One or something?
Oh, you talking about?
KRS-One. Yeah, it was KRS.
KRS-One.
Yeah, nigga, you know, he playing for the, I choose not to remember Boule niggas, but anyways, the fact of the matter, what he suggested was that the Electoral College doesn't elect a president. And so, you know, everybody came down on him, but they never really said that they couldn't say that it wasn't true, because that's exactly what we have in place, right? Because the popular vote is the majority. We have what's called a democratic republic. So we have representatives go to Congress for, you know, represent us in Congress, you know, so that's, you know, how we maximize our representation is through our representatives. But the reality of it is that one of the things that, you know, he said obviously was that, you know, the popular vote, I mean, the Electoral College selects them. He was right. Now, in the Electoral College, like we said, in 1824, Andrew Jackson won the Electoral College and the popular vote. So he won the Electoral College and the popular vote and still didn't get elected to presidency. That's deep. So you win the Electoral College and you win the popular vote and you don't become the president? You see, so this is why we have to understand that's, see, and when you know their history, because we know they're adept at the compartmentalization of information. They give you that whole book in school, but you only study chapters out of it. He don't even let you know his own history. So all this looks new to people. People say, oh, well, this is a sham. We should go and get Trump out of this. Is the, you know, these irregularities, and this is never, he won the popular vote. We should go back and recount 5 times in United States history where the vote did not matter. Electoral College still selected who they wanted to be in power. There was one time in history where the Electoral College was won and the popular vote was won, and it still didn't matter. They put in who they wanted to put in.
So the game is rigged.
The game is rigged.
Gotcha.
Game is rigged, like an NBA basketball game.
Man, so Mook, you know, the little topic we were just talking about, you know, what's been going on in the political arena, or you can address the situation with COVID.
Okay, well, on COVID standpoint, I feel like COVID is just another flu. I feel like it's just another thing that's hitting the respiratory system. It's the same thing that had it with the Spanish flu, with the malaria flu, all the things that they're talking about that hits the body. It's a mass scandal, like the thing between Trump and Biden. That all that is just is a scam to get people to get them off of what's really going on today. They're trying to by the mass killing of Black people, the mass killing of children, well, Black children to be exact, the uneducated Black children. They're trying to demoralize us in a sense, to stance where to get our mindsets away from what's really going on as far as with the media, right? Or as far as Black people. But as far as Black people and on a political level, I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I don't really believe in a more political standpoint, because out of all the leaders we've had that wanted to try to seek out for justice between each other as Black people, they got assassinated, you know? And if you do try to come out and speak the truth, you get assassinated. So I feel like more of a standpoint is either we're going to talk amongst each other and try to bring people that wants to be brung to our agenda, or a more fact of teaching them the truth instead of letting them be falsified of what the media got to tell them about what's really going on. That's how I feel about that.
Okay. I would implore people to do their own independent research, especially when it comes to viruses. So you learn how viruses operates and function. A good book would be The Basics, Cell Molecular Biology. You know what I'm saying? That got some type of information in it that can get you going, so you can understand certain things. Yeah. So we can move on from there. Well, let's talk about how, as a people, can we come together? That's if we can come together at all. You know what I'm saying? To try to right the wrongs that America have inflicted upon us.
Oh yeah, you gotta. I mean, if I touch on that, the thing is that the information has to be correct in the sense that how it's delivered. That's what an education is how you deliver information.
Agreed.
And unfortunately, like we said, we have no idea of how they're going about doing what they're doing and what their intent is. It's all been shrouded in mystery simply because, when you take a look at what's propagated through the media, you assume that these people care for you. They have institutions set up where, they provide for, help you with, if you're in dire circumstances, help to stabilize your family, funding for this, that, and the other. So they give you this philanthropic feel, this humanitarianistic feel, but the reality of it is that nothing could be further from the truth. So, it's hard for Black people to distance themselves from this idea that these people, or a particular group of people, are really here to help you, because they've always feigned that. They've always feigned loyalty. They've always feigned, a generous setting. But the reality of it is that they've been nefarious in their intent since the beginning. And how do we know that? Like, for instance, and I just wanted to touch on it because I didn't really have an opportunity to, like you said before, when we were talking about the virus, we don't even understand. We took their word for it that that's exactly what it is. When they tell us things, we have to question it. It's this old saying that I'd rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. We should be able to question that. So when they come, look, so when they come and they say, oh, well, we know it's a virus. And then they tell you, okay, well, have you ever seen a virus before? Oh, well, yeah, we have these powerful microscopes, these electron microscopes that we look at it. And, you've already said that a virus is 600 times smaller than bacteria. Okay, so now we have to trust that you're the only one who's seen it. Okay, we have to trust that you're the only one who's seen it. You're the only one who isolated it. And then you give us these 3D images, which are obviously computer, these are doctored images because they're not real, just like the same pictures and stuff you give us a space. And you got people terrified of this image, right? And the reality of it is that we know that the vast majority of the time, everything that you have talked about is based off of theory. So we know that a lot of it is shrouded in mystery simply because it's not true. When we take a look at the DNA molecule, they said that it was isolated by two guys, James Watson and Francis Crick, who had got this photo from a chick named Rosalind Franklin. And she specialized in what was called X-ray crystallography. Okay. And so what she sent them was something entitled as the UFO photo. So they never even isolated the double helix strand DNA. They'd never seen what DNA looks like. But DNA is pivotal in understanding the certain disciplines that we call virology, biology, heredity. Okay. So if you've never seen the double helix before, why is it on everything? Why do we go about science assuming that that's what it looks like? So if they've never seen what it looks like, why do we commit to this? Just like this is where his godlike status comes into play. See, we're not questioning his science as much as we're supposed to, because if you go back and you look at the etymology or the beginnings of the origins of science, it's in the realm, or it's related to magic. Okay, because much of our science comes from Kemet. Kemet is this, that's where we get the word chemistry. This is where alchemy comes from. Okay, and one of the most profound science, bodies of science that you can study or get involved in is organic chemistry. And organic chemistry is the study of carbon. We are carbon beings because we're taking a look at the melanin molecule, which is a 34 atom molecule with 18 of those atoms of that melanin molecule being carbon. So melanin is basically supercharged carbon. Okay, and in the periodic table of elements, they talk about melanin being the king of elements. Okay, so they study you. They're here to subvert your, your existence, and by doing so, they had to make up these, these biological agents in order to cause you to fear. Because we have to realize something in history, and I'm gonna cut this short after I say this. The history of the European has been this: he's the one that has introduced you to these diseases. Smallpox, syphilis. These were diseases that was known to him. He'll tell you that about his history. The French, the aristocracy, they were all, that's why they wore wigs, because of lice. Lice gave them typhus. That's why they wore those wigs. You see what I'm saying? They had no fresh water systems. They didn't even know what water looked like. It was actually almost against the law for them to smile in front of each other. You see what I'm saying? This is what you were dealing with. You were dealing with a group of people who had syphilis since the 16th century, who met the Indians and decimated their populations, especially in Hispaniola, which is modern day Haiti and the Dominican Republic, where they killed 8 million inhabitants. But again,
talking about that.
This is in the book. We know that this is in the book by Bartolomé de las Casas, which is the destruction of the West Indies, which was published in 1552. But he argued in the 16th century with these Europeans about how they were devastating communities primarily through disease. Last but not least, the biggest war that white folks was involved in was the Civil War. All the way up until I think the Vietnam War, there was more casualties in the Civil War than all the white man's wars combined. That's including World War I and II.
Like 500 million.
He lost more people fighting against himself than he did fighting against, and then he still was fighting against himself because he was fighting against other Europeans in World Wars I and II. But the reality is of this: out of all those people who died in that Civil War, vast majority of them died from disease. That is his number one weapon, is to introduce a weapon, on the biological and chemical level and turn it into a weapon, as we've seen him so proficient at doing. So that's the same thing he does with all of this. Like he said, his brother had commented on it earlier, the swine flu, the MRSA or MERS, I believe it was called, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. All different variations of what he claims is a virus. But we have yet to substantiate that that's exactly what it is. I particularly believe it's a fungus because that's the organism that inhabits the vast majority of our bodies. Makeup of
bad bacteria. Too much bad bacteria.
Right. Yeah. Too much bad bacteria. But like you said, yeah, it's coexisting with it is where we have to learn how to do it. That's why, remember what we said before. What does the white man say his greatest invention was? He said his greatest invention was sliced bread. Remember, think about that. Said no, they always compare that. It's like no invention better. And why? Because in the Bible, when we, and we don't talk about just the manuscript as we see it now, but if we look at it from what we were advised as being the so-called true Jews, is what most people characterize us as. We were told by the Most High to do what? Eat leavened bread. Unleavened bread is dangerous. Made with yeast, because yeast makes all your food. It's what helps to break down the sugars. And it helps to ripen a fruit. It helps to ripen vegetables. That's how your cheese is made. That's how yogurt and all of this stuff is made. So when you have
not to cut your knowledge, brother.
No, go ahead, bro.
Actually, go ahead. Me and family was just talking about that not even about 30 minutes ago, about yeast building up in the woman's body from them eating too much yeast. When you have intercourse and you notice all that white stuff that's built up in the woman's vaginal system, you see that all that white stuff, that's yeast being built up because of from eating too much yeast.
That's in the mouth. We call it cotton mouth when we smoke weed. Yeah, bro, we call it cotton mouth when we smoke weed. You see what I'm saying? Because it builds up in the mouth too as well. Builds up in the mouth. It builds up in the underarms. Builds up in the private areas. Look, and it also lives on the top of the skull and all over the skin. So it lives outside of the skin and inside of the human body. So an overgrowth, remember what we discussed in that one book that I talked about yeast? It said how 100 cells could grow into 4 billion overnight. So you see what the European did? He sliced up all that bread and he sell it to you. He give it away. He even tell you it's the bread of Jesus. It's the body of Jesus.
That right there was good information. That was powerful right there, brother.
But go ahead. Where
we'll go. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that my brother get his little time in.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry about
You
that. Yep.
wanna
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead and go in, Mook. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and talk
Um,
about anything you want to talk about, brother. You know what I'm saying?
the main, like my main thing I really want to touch base on is the fact of speaking with Black youth. More of because they're more easier to talk to, they're more easier to I guess
Persuade.
show them, huh?
I was gonna say persuade.
Yeah, persuade them. It's more easier to persuade them into a stand where they're not so brainwashed like everybody else. We don't have to unbrainwash them. We can show them and teach them how to move on about things instead of telling somebody tell you, oh yeah, you finna go do this because we want you to do this. We want you to go that route to the point where you thinking on your own free will thinking, but just not on a free will thinking where you could just go out and do whatever the hell you want. You gotta have discipline. And I feel like the way we can discipline the children is a standpoint we teach them like how we teach our own children at home. It starts at home, right? So if we're teaching our own children at home on how to go on about life, how to maintain, not how would what the rest of society do and how what the white man do. Because as a Black man, the white man can't do the same thing a Black man do, and a Black man can't do the same thing a white man do. They're not going to be looked upon as the same. They're not going to be judged as the same. So we gotta go on a moralized standpoint as we got to start teaching them how to economically go, how to politically move, how to I'm gonna say in a way of, I guess, let me see. Mm, I don't know. It's I don't know. It's kind of messing up right now, guys. I don't know. I just mostly want to speak on talking to the youth, mostly talking to the youth, teaching because, like I said, I'm still youth myself. You know what I'm saying? It's we always gonna learn every single day, and I look upon like family over here as my elder. I'm gonna look at you as my elder. So by listening to you guys, I got to sit here and learn more and more and more and more, even about on certain levels. And I feel like by me starting it, I could be able to persuade other people my age and younger to go on about how business is, economics, the whole nine, just on a standpoint, because first we got to start somewhere. We got to start with self before we can just start with everybody else. And if I don't start with myself, I can't go out and be able to start with somebody else and teach them something if I can't first teach my own self. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, bro, you should go out and do this if I'm not trying to do something that I'm trying to teach you to do. You see what I'm saying? And I see a lot of older people do that when they're trying to teach the youngest. You out here teaching a youngin how to do something, but yet you're out here doing the same thing that you're telling the youngin not to do. You see what I'm saying? So we all misconstrued and contradict ourselves so much to a standpoint where you're telling my youngin to do something, but my youngin looking up to you. Out of all these rappers and entertainment people, all our children looking up to them, all the Black people, you know what I'm saying? So by them selling drugs and talking about killing people, that's the first thing my child gonna wanna do. He's gonna wanna go pick up a gun, he's gonna wanna go gang bang, he's gonna wanna do all that. So instead, you gotta discipline, you gotta start from at the house. You gotta stop your children from listening to certain type of music. You gotta stop your children from moving a certain type of way. So that's why more of a way I'm trying to go on teaching children and people of, I'm saying from 13 to 18. That's more of my field of teaching because, like I said, you can't teach an older person something that they already been taught. You already saying, you know what I'm saying, or what they've been told for a long period of time. What's going to make them change today than what they did 30 years ago? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, everybody going to come out when one person do something, the next is going to come out and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna do what the next do, or I'm gonna do what he want to do. Why? You're following the same tradition that's gotten us nowhere. You see what I'm saying? And I want to try to come up with something new that's gonna be able to push us in a way where we can learn something better for ourselves. Because what we're being taught today is getting us nowhere. So we got to come together as like older, like your guys, elderly people. I'm not gonna say elderly, but elders come together and teach our youngins about different way of what y'all to learn. You see what I'm saying? Because if you try to put a certain way in the ways today's frame of way people think of kids my age today, they're gonna look at you guys like, man, y'all don't get y'all asses out of here with all that bullshit. So I feel like you gotta come in a way at these children in a standpoint that they know of. Like if I'm coming at you in rap, Okay, well, I want you to rap to me something about your body. You see what I'm saying? What you know about your body? What is your brain made of? What is your heart made of? What is your whole molecular structure made of? You see what I'm saying? So if you can't sit there and tell me what your molecular structure is made of, how can you sit here and rap about whatever you want to rap about, talk about whatever you want to talk about, and do all this other stuff if yet we can't get past what the children do? Because at the end of the day, who the next generation? Not you guys, my generation. My generation is next. You see what I'm saying? So if we don't teach them about the basis of life now, then we're just going to be in the same predicament, repeating everything over and over and over and over. We did it, what? Look what you said. You said in the 80s and 90s, they was doing it. 60s and 50s, they was doing it. 40s and 30s, they was doing it. Repeating the same shit over and over and over and over again, and we're still stuck in the same position. Cops still killing us. We have no type of barely income. We don't own no land. We don't own nothing. So if we have none of this in our way of life right now, how can we progress anywhere? How can we even get to
the
a
only
standpoint?
thing I would slightly disagree with you on is that it's something I was watching Dame Dash interview, and he said, the brother asked him, he said, what do black people need to do? And he said, well, you know, I don't think we could do it because we don't have a lot of resources. He said, no, he said, I got resources. He said, how
lack
come
of
brothers ain't
motivation.
coming? What'd you say?
Lack of motivation.
No, not necessarily lack of motivation. It all boils down to education, like we talked about before. It's not that, see, like me and you can have the same information. We can read the same book, but we might get something different out of it. That's like the Bible. That's why you have so many different denominations. Same book, different interpretations. Same, okay. You know, I just got to pop up, but it's same book, different interpretations, and that's ultimately what you get. So unfortunately, because we get swallowed up into Europeans thinking that we all the same, because how many times have you heard that rhetoric? Like, oh, well, you know, we're all the same underneath, etc. So black people buy into that. And so since that disables them mentally, what do? We think that we can integrate within a system that is designed to kill us. So that's something your generation is going to continue to do, because like you said, unbeknownst to was, you know, even though they're not, they think that they have a certain swag that can get them in the door. The reality of it is the monster is still the same. You're still battling the same beast, but you battling the beast that has consolidated its power. That's in the listen to me now. That's in the last phases of its developing, you know, into bringing you into a new world order. That's what we're saying. So there is no time. It's not about like, it's even Bobby Hemmick said this. He said that blacks are in a suspended state of consciousness. And what does that mean? That means that, you know, this man always got you thinking that, oh, well, yeah, your kids are the future. No, if we die out, your kids don't have a future. The future is now.
And that's why I said it's up to your guys' generation to
it's
teach
up to all of us that's capable.
Standpoint.
But listen, this is what I'm saying. I don't know if you follow. I see from the imagery behind you. I'm assuming that you Muslim. You five.
Yeah, I believe in Islam.
Okay, all right. And so, with that being said, what do we know? We know that inevitably, you know, if you believe in that, what we're saying is that ultimately there'll be a time when this is all up. But that spiritual instruction, we all have an opportunity. When you take a deep look at that manuscript, a lot of the people who were followers of the Most High had come upon this responsibility when they were young. You know, even if you take a look at the pharaohs, they were pharaoh. They were placed with these responsibilities when they were young. So as long as we are in this space and we have the you know, because just because somebody's older than you, don't mean that they that savvy mentally. Don't mean that they know more than you. I'm pretty sure
I would strongly not disagree with you on that.
See what I'm saying? So it's
age is just a number, because it's the mindset and how you portray yourself to be. I'm very aware. I agree with you.
It's the saying. It's the saying. You all should always remember. This is called age. AGE is a high price to pay for maturity. So basically, it means, you know, if you gotta wait till you 30, 40 to mature, that's a sad sight.
That's the problem. Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Because the Most High kicks in your physiological development by 13, 14. It's called puberty.
Yes, that's when you can produce sperm.
Okay, so that's when the Most High say, I need you to become even more aggressive if you're a boy to turn into, so this is how you're going to progress into a man. And if you're a female, obviously this is how this girl is going to progress into a woman. So that's, you know, ultimately the responsibilities that we place on ourselves. We do delayed development. We sit up there and wait till our children of age to put them in school to learn. Your children's supposed to know as much as what they supposed to know so that they can ace first through second through third grade. I know a lot of Black people may not be, you know, fifth grade, sixth grade smart, because obviously we know that from the show, are you smarter than the fifth grader? Not many Americans are smarter than fifth graders. But what we do know is that we know you should be able to get them past kindergarten and 1, 2, 3. That's what we should know. So why do we wait? And then our children, they have a hard time being in school because of that, you know, arrested development. And then so they don't like school. But and then to add insult to injury, the curriculum is tainted. So it's how we educate our children. Because remind you, like we talked about money and economics briefly, what we got to understand is that this is ran by supply and demand. We all, you know, what makes you want to buy something? You see what I'm saying? What makes you want to buy a McDonald's hamburger rather than cook a hamburger in your own home?
Because the next person's doing it. Everybody's doing because of what the next person's doing. You're not doing because
or not just that. It's about convenience. It's about a lot of things, right? So we're not going to control what you know, the things that we should control in our neighborhoods, because like you said, we're lazy and we're allowing other people to do it. And there's these generational gaps that will continue to exist. But this is by design because it exists in their framework too as well. You don't think white folks have problems with their children and they're rebellious against them? You see what I'm saying? But this gap is where there won't be any evolution when you miss out from the knowledge or the well, like you talked about, that you can gain from the individuals who are around you who are a little bit older, and you disregard that or ignore that. Yeah, there's going to be pitfalls and stuff that and traps that you're going to find yourself ensnared in, all because you avoided counsel. But the big problem is now is that's what we have to understand. So yeah, I'm going to let you touch on that, bro. I wasn't trying to.
Yeah, I do want to interject, but I think in this day and age, like you were saying, what get us to eat a ham, go to McDonald's instead of cooking a burger at home? You know, it's propaganda, it's mind control. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole bunch of tools that they got at their disposal right now. You know what I'm saying? And that we're at the mercy of. You know what I'm saying? We don't got that. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we got to be stronger mentally. You know what I'm saying? We got to, we got to, like, I think the main thing is, like you say, just educate ourselves on certain things. You know what I'm saying? That can go a long way. You know what I'm saying? I think that can go a very long way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just sit back and you study, like, McDonald's, for example. You know what I'm saying? You do the research on that, how they got hamburgers that can last for a whole year. You know what I'm saying? Once you see something like that, like, why would you want to eat that? And if you continue eating it, then that's on you.
Yeah, it don't dissolve in your stomach enough. The acid components in your body can't dissolve it. Yeah.
It can't break it down. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, if that's what you choose to put in your body, then fine, cool. If that's what you choose to drink or whatever, that's fine, cool. But I think first you need to understand what you're putting in your body, or understand, like you say, what you're reading, get a better context. You know what I'm saying? Understand your belief system, your religion that you follow. Understanding is the key. You know what I'm saying? Once we can understand, like you said, it also goes back to Black people in America. You know what I'm saying? I try to tell people, like, well, first off, let's understand. Like you say, let's understand this beast, where he comes from.
Hey, bro, and 1,000 parts, it made me think about what Fam said, right? Because he was like, you know, y'all generation well removed, and that's how a lot of them think, like, y'all, you know, we doing things of another speed. And one thing I would say to that is, like, how is it that you can follow a manuscript, like he said, he's a believer of Islam, thousands of years old, and that ain't out of touch with you?
Right.
But somebody could be out of touch with you 10, 20 years old and still living in still in the same time and space as you is, might be 10 or 20 years older. But see, like I'm saying, how are we outdated when we're here to share in this experience, but yet we can believe in something that's 1,000 or 2,000 years old?
And that's the point. And that's the point. Me and family was talking about that too, to the point where, you know, I'm not talking about exactly switch it up about what we are set upon, a path upon. I mean, just try to figure out what we can come at them different, come at a way that they're used to. You see what I'm saying? That to the point where we're coming at them away with something, with a certain knowledge, and we're trying to put it, like, slowly build it into them. Because if we just come out and say, oh yeah, you're following the white man shit, you're being brainwashed, they'll look at you like, nigga, you're the crazy one. You're the nigga that everybody talk about. You're the one that's keeping us divided. Because a girl that's in college right now. I was just about to have a debate with her about, and she tried to tell me about how the Africans was putting each other in slavery, and about how people like me is the reason why we're divided amongst with white people or Europeans. And when I asked her, I said, isn't it really your type of people that's keeping us divided amongst each other? Now, because if we're divided amongst each other, whoever said we did anything good when we integrated white folks? What had anything good happen came out to us when we integrated with these inbreds? Nothing has good. It's all been turmoil for years, hundreds and hundreds of years. It's been all type of turmoil. So the day we integrated with white people is the day that we considered hell came true. We've had everything that we needed, resources, land, everything we needed until when we came with white people. They brought us the Bible. We had the Bible, they had the land. I'm gonna have to quote what they say. It's the truth.
Yeah, and
they
then
had the land, we had the
like
Bible.
Mara tell you, one of the things that we as Black people, and I love that, and I'm gonna compliment you on that, you know, bringing that idea into existence. But one thing that we love to do, we always like to say, globalize that experience, because this is something we've been doing for a very long time. If you go back to the Carthage Wars, they called the Punic Wars,
Yeah.
Carthaginians and stuff.
In
We've been
Africa.
battling these
Africa.
white folks for a long time. Rome even went to war. Rome even went to war with Nubia. So it's not like
Zulu,
when we got.
Zulu tribe. They
What'd
went
you
against
say?
the Europeans, the Zulu nation, the Zulu tribe.
Yeah, you know, you got King Leopold was there killing, you know, those natives and those indigenous people. So this been, like you said, this didn't just start with the slavery, and one of the reasons why it's, you know, they continue to keep pushing that narrative is because they want to isolate that experience. And I think that the common ground should be is the fact that we're all tropical people. Anywhere that you've seen the sun, that tropical area, if you take a look at any map, it'll show you that obviously that the region of Africa and the so-called Middle East is it's near the equator. And so
all black people's always been equator.
Exactly. We're, you know, equatorial latitudes is where our people like to be. We like to be around the sun because we're a sun people, and that's what we are. So we should, you know, I often tell people to lose that debate in terms of that, because one thing we have to put in perspective is that these Europeans are a minority, always will be and always have been. They might outnumber us here in the United States, but globally, you know, people of color outnumber people with no hue. So that's one thing we got to put into perspective. But I understand you on that.
They won't outnumber us too long here in America either.
Did you say, bro?
I said they won't outnumber us too long either here in America.
They're trying to integrate with us too much.
Right, and that's why they're going through what they're going about doing now, because they understand that. They understand that, and we talked about this because who had brought this out? Dr. Francis Quest Welsing and Neely Fuller, who talked about, look, they understand that if you don't understand this about Europeans, and everything else about them will confuse you. It is about genetic, survival. You know, because we understand when they breed with us that a baby of color comes out. So it's not in their best interest, okay? Let me say the ISIS papers, Color Confrontation Theory by Dr. Francis Quest Welsing. Big shouts out to her. May she rest in revolution. And that's where we at right now. We see that people don't understand, that our youth need to understand is that we need to get out of this idea you're the same. I hear white folks say that all the time. Oh, it's a struggle. It's all of us. They're doing this to all. No, the sick part about it is that you can't confront it with the same energy and zeal that we do, because you know that it's your people doing it to you. That's what's so sad about it. Like, we don't want to look, membership has its privileges. Somebody else, you can whoop your kid all day, but you're not going to let nobody else bully him. We need to look outside of that and stop letting them say, oh, well, yeah, what about black on black crime? What about white on white crime? Just as many of y'all kill each other as just as many of us kill. Murder is a crime of proximity.
And actually, that's not true. Actually, that's not true.
That is true.
I'm talking about the statistics on white people. There's more white people killing white people than there is black people.
That's what I said. That's it. That's what I said. I said all that.
Thousand part, brother. My miss it true.
Yeah. 84% of white people are murdered by other white people.
Yes,
you see, about 82, 83% of black people are murdered. Like I said, murder is a crime of proximity. You will kill who you close to and get angry with, because that's who you hanging around. You see what I'm saying? So so they want to, just like your kid in his life as a child, the most ass whoopings they gonna take is from the parent, but the parent ain't gonna let them take no ass whoopings from no stranger. You see, so they keep overlooking what's obvious. See, we got to start paying attention to nature, because nature says that we're solar beings, that our body, our skin absorbs light. That's what we are. We're not, in my opinion, and, I try to respect people's religious beliefs and outlooks, but in my opinion, what I believe, us being solar beings strips us of these identity politics, spiritual politics, where we talk about we're Muslim or we're this or that. No, when you redefine what you are, then who you are opens up a door to all possibilities. Because when you're a melanin being, okay, then you're no longer all these other titles. You've redefined yourself. Because see, that's what they understand is they're at a deficit. That's why they have to go through this process of geoengineering, making the world a place where they're suitable to live, blocking out the sun, all of this different stuff, getting rid of people of color, to all make it so that they have an environment where it increases the chances that they will be able to survive. But go ahead, you about to say something?
Now, I was just gonna say that the main thing that I'm gonna say about, as far as me being Muslim, what I believe about Islam is that, as far as on a spiritual level, as far as there has to be a creator, there has to be a higher energy, there has to be, even though we are all made of energy. I believe that 100%. Like we ain't just, but at the same time, I can't just believe we just popped out of nowhere. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yes, energy has always been, and energy will never end. So, they compare energy to God. Yes, they do, because God is man-made. Anybody can be a God, because to us, we gods at the end of the day. Because if you're energy and you made of this being, you're a God. Technically, you're a God. In Kemet, they teach you're gods. The woman is a goddess and the black man is a god. So, but we're not a god to the point where we created the universe, we created everything, but we do create life.
Oh yeah, we participate in the creative process. I think the only problem that a lot of people had, because it's two different forms. Obviously, you got Orthodox Islam, and then you have Black nationalist Islam, which took its foothold in the United States in the early 20th century. You had Farad Muhammad come through in 1930, establishes synagogue, or this not synagogue but mosque in Detroit, and then he ends up leaving at around 1933. Then you had Elijah Poole, who changed his name to Elijah Muhammad, and he took over. And then obviously after Malcolm X was released from prison in 1952, then he, ended up proliferating mosques. Yeah, the message to the black man. So yeah, I'm fully aware of all those things. And obviously one thing that we do know from a spiritual perspective is that Islam is part of what's called the Abrahamic religions, because Ishmael is the oldest son. And Islam comes through supposedly his oldest son. And then Jacob is, the son that, the Christianity so that's where we get that. But yet it's still, like I tell people all the time, like me and Mar was discussing, when you go back to the languages, because when we talk about Hebrew and Aramaic Hebrew and these languages in Arabic, these are Semitic languages. Okay.
Yes, they are.
Semitic language is a branch of the Afro-Asiatic tongue. Okay. So this is what we have to understand. We gave them language. So there's no way, even when I tell brothers, when they say, oh, Hebrew don't even go back far enough. Hebrew is a branch of Afro language.
It is.
It's not the oldest language. You see, that's the problem that I have. You see niggas walk around in Hebrew, they talking about that like that's the oldest language. You also have to see that's what goes into the interpretation of the Bible as being a linguistics major is because why, or having an interest in linguistics. Why? Because the Bible went through so many changes linguistically. That's what etymology is. Etymology is not just the study of words, it's also how they change over time. Now check this out. I want to make this one important point. Right. Now I want to give one example of this. Do we know that in the earlier, all the way up until the 20th century, the English term man actually stood for woman, man, and child? A lot of people don't know that. So when they say that the Antichrist will be a man, you don't know that back in the day, man stood for man, woman, and child. So when people now, they took a look at that name and then they say, oh man, is the Antichrist going to be a man? See, that's how you got to know the study of words and how words and what they used to mean. Because see, people hang on every meaning of every word. You feel what I'm saying? When they're going through talking or articulating a point or bringing something into context. Okay,
They do.
so
Yeah.
we got to be real careful on those things, and that's why we can't get lost on it and go back to understanding that we gave them languages. The Greeks got their alphabet from the Phoenicians.
Yes,
Okay,
they
the Phoenicians were supposedly the
Yeah.
Canaanites. All right, so the Greeks didn't even know how to speak before we met them.
And don't forget that they translated their alphabet through what we call the Rosetta Stone.
Exactly.
The
You know what I'm
Rosetta
saying?
Stone.
So
Yep.
when we dealing with the
And you
metadata,
didn't, that's when you're talking about Coptic Egyptian.
correct.
All right.
That's when they
And
get to the
Greek-
coffin text. The coffin text.
Right. And so look, the reality of it is that most of what is translated, what is called or termed Hebrew, is really Hebrew Aramaic. Okay. And so there's never really translated anything from Hebrew, because this is how you get birth what's called the Masoretic text. The Masoretic texts were a group of Masoret Jews in the 10th and 11th, the 10th and 11th centuries who understood that, look, we have to come up with a text that's understandable, okay? Because nobody knew how to speak Hebrew, because Hebrew didn't have any vowels in the language.
You see, look, right here.
Okay. So I have to pull that up. Let me see. All right, yeah. Yep. Okay. Now look, this is another thing I'm gonna tell you how slick these white folks is. Now you see the term proto-European, all this proto-Semitic, all this different stuff. Now, proto means first. Okay? Proto means
What book was
first.
that, Cuddy? Not to cut you off, but on what book was that?
Go ahead.
It's called More to Kemet. It's teaching you about all the stuff that's on the walls of. That's what I'm saying. Everything that he about to start saying, I'm finna start showing it because they're on the walls right here. Look, everything that you see, and where it talks about everything that you talking about, where the writing and everything came, it's all in this book right here.
Oh yeah. And that's what we got to understand through languages, because remember, when we go back to the Carthaginian wars, the Punic wars between the Carthaginians and the Romans, which were black people, because the third Punic war was who? That was Hannibal. We know Hannibal to be black.
Yes,
okay,
he was.
so
the
Punic is a language. That's what people don't understand. When they say the Punic wars, that mean a language. They spoke what's called Punic. That's why they called it the Punic Wars. Okay, so what we have to understand is this: when the Romans won, what did they do? They destroyed the libraries. These people know who we are.
Alexandria.
If they wanted to, now all of a sudden they act dumbfounded. We don't know who these people were. Yeah, you did. If you were so concerned about knowing who they were, you wouldn't have destroyed the libraries.
Oh, you remember when you was talking about Joanna Frederick, dude, Joanna Frederick that y'all was talking about? You're right here. And they was talking about how he was stealing the languages off the pyramid and talking about how the Kemets weren't really there and that they weren't really black and shit like that. That's what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, because we gotta understand that the Europeans also colonizers of information.
Thank you.
You see what I'm saying? For the most part. That's
Thank
what they do also, real good and great. So they know who we are. They just got it hidden behind their closed door, behind their museums and libraries and shit. You know what I'm saying? But they'll never tell us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they got
right here.
Political hole in a political game to do not tell us who the fuck we are.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Man theorized. Look, it says he theorized by Johanna Frederick Bird that the black race did not exist, but he said it divided human species into 5 races in 1779. Later founded on a Korean research description on human skulls that the Caucasian white race, the Mongolian race, the Malayan race, the Ethiopian race, and the American red man race. Right? He theorized that there was no such thing as a black race or African race before 1752. That's what he tried to put in writing, that there was no black people before this time, right? Before on the pyramids and shit, right? Now, when he put the hieroglyphs on the wall, this is what he shows. African men.
Oh yeah.
But he said the black race didn't occur on the pyramid walls, right? After 1752. That's when he was telling people there was no black race started before on the pyramid walls in the coffin text, right? And that's when he get to explaining and putting up pictures to show that there is actually Black people that was all over Kemet before time started. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this the man right here.
Oh yeah. 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 I mean, that covering up our history and whitewashing our history is something that they've been adept at for a very long time. I mean, we don't even have to go back hundreds of years. We've been living through cultural appropriation ourselves. We see how they rob us of our music, our style, everything, and we sit up there and we ignore it. We got to, because it's an issue of cognitive dissonance. We don't want to believe what we see in front of us. That's what we're dealing with right now. We passed the feelings of past this concept of thoughts, where we just like, okay, we got to tell Black people what's going on. I understand that everybody like, okay, well, you just telling me, how's that gonna help me? Well, like me and Mar discussed earlier, it's just as much as what they do. These white folks don't ever stop meeting. They don't never stop conferencing. They don't ever stop talking. They don't never stop brainstorming. They don't ever stop lecturing. You see, we need to continue to keep sharpening our tools, and then putting out the right information is what's really going to head us in the right direction. Because like we said, there's an intermediary between thoughts and action, because there's this old saying that before an action, there's the thought. Thought is the birth of action. But the reality of it is before you do something, you have to feel like doing it. If I don't want to clean, I can think about cleaning my room, but if I don't feel like cleaning the motherfucker, it's not going to get clean. It's how you feel. You see what I'm saying? So it's not just about thinking about something. Like, we got to make Black people feel like they want to be liberated. We got to make Black people feel like, okay, well, I'm not just gonna go to the store and dump anything in my body, dump this liquor in my body. We got to establish that it's a poison, because many of what Black people know, like we said, we still allow the European to pump his pseudoscience on us. Oh, a little bit of liquor.
That's what I was talking about, the motivation part, when I was saying we have to motivate. Motivation can mean for any aspect. If I'm telling you, if I'm trying to motivate you to stop doing drugs, if I'm trying to motivate you to pursue in a career, if I'm motivation, that's why I say we have a lack of motivation. And that's the reason why I put it that way, because if, like I said, if we're out here trying to teach the youth, they're not doing it, that's a lack of motivation. They're not wanting to do it. They're not trying to persuade something. They'd rather keep on with this agenda, keep on what they got going on today. They'd rather stay brainwashed. So that's why I put in a standpoint, Black people have a lack of motivation. We don't have the motivation to entwine, to actually seek out the knowledge. If we had the motivation to go out, seek out and do it, we'd have been done it.
But this is what I will say. I will say this. I always say, because I get in the habit of this too, and I know me and Mar was talking about this, is that I gotta get out of the habit of especially when I know that we dealing with a government that got their own patsies, that got their own crisis actors, we got to be careful of making it seem as if these people that we see on TV are people from our stock. That like they're revolutionary. These are people that are in the way. We got to know that these, the people who consider themselves to be Masons, they have huge families, man. And I think Black people ain't ready to understand that. Just like when we talk about Kamala Harris and all them, she's from an HBCU, historically Black university. She came out of the sorority Alpha Kappa Alpha. Now, why is this important? It's because they've always controlled our education through a military standpoint. Think about it. Most HBCUs were started by a war general. A Civil War hero started Howard University. His name was Oliver Howard. Spelman College is named after Lord Rockefeller. Lord Spelman Rockefeller.
The biggest family in that owns.
You see what I'm saying? Tuskegee, which is a historically Black college, right? What did they do? Through them, they gave us syphilis. See, these sororities and fraternities, these Negroes, think about it. These are the same Negroes who went over to Liberia. They were called the I think it was called Anglo-Liberians or something like that. That was the term. But they were Masons. Liberians. Yeah, they were Masons. You see, matter of fact, it was overthrown by Samuel Dole in 1980. They were Masons. You see, and so it's a group of elite Blacks that feel
Skull and Bones, the 1672 people, like it's all, they're all connected. It's just sects of
because we got to educate. Now look, this is what I'm gonna say too. And I told Mar I was gonna ask you this question, not that you don't know, I'm pretty sure you do know, because you seem like a brother well-versed in a lot of different areas. But when we were talking about economics, this is one thing, I made a statement and I said that this guy, when he put together this documentary, he said, look, he said, it'd be as strange if we talked about, if we went around and asked people, where do babies come from? And a grown person didn't know where a baby came from. He said, that's just like money. He said, we spend money, we work for money, we die for money, but we don't know where money comes from. Where does money come from?
Money comes from plants. It's cotton.
That's what I'm saying. That's what he said. No, but where does it come from?
Where does
Who's
it come from? Oh, okay, my bad.
Now, how is it made? Yeah, I understand. You was going how is it made, but I'm saying where does it come from?
Misunderstanding.
Right, it's all good.
Comes from the government. It comes from the enemy. It comes exactly from what we try to avoid all these years.
But who specifically does it come from?
Certain banks.
Okay, that's warming up. But what
certain
banks?
Like let's use Rockefellers. They own some of the biggest banks that come into America that runs our money. And they run Congresses, they run Supreme places.
Right, but we're talking about the official, the official institution that runs the money, that creates the policies, that regulates the money, the inflation and all of that. Who does all of that with the money?
I'm gonna say banks.
All right, you close, but it's the Federal Reserve. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it.
Federal Reserve, yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. But that's important because what we have to know is there's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. It's just as Federal Express, is what I'm saying. That's a private group, like you said. It's just what you said. Yeah, it's just what you said. It's a group of private banks, 12 to be exact, in the United States of America, that prints our money.
Certain families, yes.
We don't print our own money. No, and just like me and Mar was talking about, we said we got to think about it. Think about this ain't the first time that the U.S. dollars. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, family. You can go in.
Yeah, this ain't the first time that the U.S. dollar has collapsed because, like, what did we talk about earlier? We said that the presidents who faces are on the dollar or our founding fathers, what money were they spending back in the day? So that money obviously had to fail because we ain't using it now.
No, I think they was spending money that had slaves on them. Black people was on them. You know what I'm saying?
Anybody could print up currency, bro.
Yes, they can.
Anybody could have printed up currency during that time. What'd you say?
I said we weren't in the trading paper money. We was in gold, trading animals, stock and shit like that. That was our currency.
That was ancient time.
That was trade. And me and Mar just talked about how when you look at the Constitution, they have what's in there called the Commerce Clause. And that gives them
I ain't gonna lie, I ain't really getting to the whole Constitution. So
I know, man. Don't worry about it. But this is what this is all about. This is about growing. Now, I'm just saying I was gonna touch on, I wasn't gonna go deep. I was just gonna say that they control our trade, fam. They control the printing of the money. Anytime we take a look at states like the state of Michigan, when they talk about is trying to get federal funding, they look at the language that they use. Federal funding, you don't print the dollar. So you just waiting to get money from the federal government. This is the type of control that they have. So when Black people talk about economics and they don't know where the money come from, who controls it, and how viable the money is, like this dollar is close to collapsing. All economists are saying it. So if you got white economists,
actually Russia, China, they all want to drop the dollar. They want to go back to gold, Bitcoins, cryptocurrency and shit. They're not even trying to deal with actual physical paper money no more.
So when Black people have to get to that understanding, and they're not raising the alarm in the Black community. See, that's what me and Marmar talked about when we was talking about out-of-date philosophies. See, just what you talked about, the older generation, it seems like their techniques and strategies is out of date. They are. Because you got brothers like for instance, Umar Johnson trying to build a school when we at war. When bullets flying by, don't nobody need no textbooks. You see what I'm saying? This is where we are right now. We're like, okay, it has to fit the set of circumstances because anything else will be out of context. You can't, just like we said before, if I'm in a house and that house is burning, you ain't gonna see me walking out the motherfucker. I'm gonna be running out that motherfucker. You see, so we got to put things in its proper context. The building is on fire. So we have no time to be walking around, shuffling our feet, talking about what we need to do. No, we need to be training. We've been doing it so far anyways. See, that same radicalism that you got toward, all we got to do is, reverse it. That same hatred that we have toward each other, just direct it somewhere else. Because we always be like in the hood, we don't give a fuck. Now, I'll do this to a nigga. But as soon as the white man come around.
We do that, they're going to call us a terrorist. we're gonna be terrorized.
You already a terrorist.
We're gonna consent terrorism.
You already
But you
not
already a terrorist.
Yeah, we already not classified as
Already a
citizens.
terrorist. That's what I'm saying. It's either you. This is what I'm saying. niggas is like, I want to die slow, not die fast. That's the choices that you're given.
Fast, Mike.
You see, because what they're telling you is that, look, I already know what you are. You're a light being. The shit that I told you about you being black and all of that, that ain't even the half of it. We understand we done already went through a lot of the history. We know they've been covering our shit up. We know they've been destroying a lot of our records to distance us from the truth, but that's not the problem no more. We know we can't convince them. Black folks need to stop acting like we can convince somebody who know what they're doing. See, it'd be different if you know, they can make this narrative out to be like Europeans don't know what they're doing. Like they just stumbled upon some arcane information and they just went about creating an empire. No, they went about doing this methodically. They were calculating in their approach. What
about the people, not to cut your knowledge, what about the people that doesn't want to, that want to stay behind? What about them people? We can't forget about them people.
Look, in every war.
Yes, you can.
Look,
yes, you can. No, I'm not saying, shit, nigga, you got to go.
You don't have to.
I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about as far as brothers like us that know. I'm gonna let you go. If you're not trying to help us to outcome and make a better self for us, I might have to leave.
Yeah, because
look, and that's what I was trying to tell Cuz when he came over.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to tell him, I said, family, I said, the strategies that our elders try to do, keep everybody together, go peacefully. They not coming peacefully with us. Every time we try to go to protest, and they, even to this day, they still beating the shit out of us, shooting us, not getting in trouble for it, doing all this crazy shit. So what is the point of doing all this peaceful protests and shit for? All our leaders that got assassinated, all of them, from trying to be out there marching, peaceful shit. It ain't time. It's time to put the peacefulness down and get straight to it. Just go
but see, then that's what I was trying to tell you, that it's not gonna work. So our warrior class need to step up. You know what I'm saying? But our warrior class is not about that life. You see what I'm saying?
My thing is, everybody want to be gangster.
Hold on. We only about that life when it comes to each other. You see what I'm saying? Period. You see what I'm saying? So what we need to do, because like you say, certain shit that was back in the day is not gonna work today. Because we can see what happened. You know what I'm saying? They would study gunning us down, they would study killing us. But goddamn it, look at, for example, if you go into history, if you look at how the Indians, right? They would say during slavery, even though they were slaughtering and killing them, you know what I'm saying? They done made their mind up about these people, saying, well, these people is warlike. We can't really enslave them because they're not going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're study fighting back. They're study woo. You know what I'm saying? In order to make them cooperate, we got to damn near kill them all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't see that in black people. Black people was really, not to say that we didn't rebel, not to say that there wasn't no revolts, but we was more
just more cultural with shit than they is.
Huh?
We've been the only race to actually sit back and let everybody bully us. The only race.
I mean, in a sense, yes. In a sense, yes. Like you said, you got some people that stood up. You know what I'm saying?
When the Chinaman, they bombed, I'm just saying, when they bombed Japan wasn't going. China ain't going. None of these, Afghanistan ain't going. We still can't take over Iraq to this day. We ain't none of the other countries going.
Look, bro.
But we really can't.
We gotta understand, too, we gotta put things in a perspective. The whole world is a stage. Always remember that.
See, I know war is propaganda. I know war is propaganda.
These Europeans, see, we do that. That's why I say, as scholars, let's always stick to our guns and understanding that they control that realm. These are nothing more. Asians, think about it. When you study linguistics, they will tell you that languages are related genetically. Yes, so understand this: Indo-Iranian. That's a branch of Indo-European. That's where the Chinese language come from. Yes, Chinese are Europeans. That's why we call them. That's why we call white people Caucasians. They're all related.
The Japanese man.
Remember, you gotta understand something. Remember, after World War II, when Europeans were destroying each other, what did they do? They came up with what was called the Marshall Plan, and then they put a whole bunch of money into rebuilding each other. See, they can go to war with each other and rebuild their empires. You see what I'm saying? And so this is what we got to understand, is that that's the nature of him. He's a militaristic individual. By his very nature, he's a warmongerer. You see what I mean? Like you guys said, yeah, the techniques and strategies of the older generation is out of date, but one thing the older generation can do is, like we said, train the young into understanding you're in a war. That's what we got to do. And then have the ability to fight side by side, because I don't buy into this idea that blacks ain't ready. We're more than ready. Unfortunately, this is the problem. We keep having people think that we're not. We got to get out of that. And I'm gonna tell you why, because what we see on the media, they control that. They control that narrative. Every time you go on YouTube, Twitter, they overwhelm you. And that's what the design is intended to do. There's always an underground movement. Yeah, go ahead.
Agree. The reason why I don't believe that is because, not what you're talking about, what they got to be talking about on the open, is because if it's so easy for a gang member to go out in the streets and be like, "Little homie, I want you to come with us." They finna talk so sexy. They finna say, "Oh, look, we got this. We know how to do this. We finna stick to brothers and all, woo, woo, woo. These the enemies. These are people. These who we fuck with, right?" Now, if it's so easy for just a gang member to go swoop up a child, swoop up a young person and be like, "Come on, you ready, combatant. You gonna die for this." You telling me we can't get these children to stand up for our people and go come combat ready? They do it gangs all day. They do it with gangs all day. So if a child finna go pick up that 45 to go blow that nigga head because he wearing blue or because he wearing red, you telling me he can't go pick up because that nigga pale face? I'm not trying to hear that. These children is ready. They just waiting for the younger people. Like me, I'm ready to go to war. I'm not gonna lie, like I've been ready.
Hold on, Mo. I think what it is you have to change the social norm of how it is. Because when you say that, right, a young person, they think it's cool because they know that they'll get stripes, they'll get recognition in the hood. You see what I'm saying?
Isn't that why I was talking about discipline?
They're not getting recognition in the hood. Like to them, it's not cool to stand up to the government. You see what I'm saying? You don't get no recognition. You don't get kudos for that type of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
But they telling you but they telling you basically that's who your rival is. That's not who your enemy is. When I hear gangs talk, they're not telling you. They're telling you. They're not getting in your head. "Oh yeah, this man right here is your enemy."
No, because that's not in their social norm. Because that's not in their social norm, family. You know, if I'm a gangbanger, then my social norm would be other gangs. We attack other gangs. You see what I'm saying? So the social norm got to change. You know what I'm saying? It got to be. You got to put in their brain and implement that. Like, look, we're going to war against these people. You see what I'm saying? That's how Malcolm X did it when he had his cohesive group together.
Khalid Muhammad.
You see what I'm saying? Everybody, when they came together, they knew who the enemy was. They knew what they was marching for, even though it was right or wrong or however you want to say it, but they knew what they was marching for. You know what I'm saying? It was a bigger agenda. It was a bigger picture. You see what I'm saying? But I think that's what we got to change. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't get to them. Because now these days, these young people, it's not cool to go against the government. You know, it's not cool for that. You know, I think you get a gang member, right? And if his leader messed around and told him it's open season on the police, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, we're gonna violate all you niggas. They would do just that. They would be running around here clapping the police like it ain't no tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? But there's nobody pushing them. You see what I'm saying? They're not saying that.
Right, because they took out.
We can't go to war with the police because then you slow up my money. You see what I'm saying, family? Then you slow up that dollar that I'm gonna get. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have the police flooding the hood. You know what I'm saying? Instead of sitting back and saying, "Look, I don't care about none of that." You know what I'm saying? You got to put your feet down. You know what I'm saying? That thumb point. You know what I'm saying? And I just, you know, that's what I think. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to go attack the children, you got to change the paradigm and the social norm that they're used to. You know what I'm saying?
Because remember, hold on. Remember, I told you it all starts with the discipline. Before we even teach them military anything, you got to teach them the discipline. The gangs, before they even hand you a pistol in your hand, you got to do something on a discipline level.
They're not doing, hold on, gangs are not doing, gangs is letting people run wild. They're not disciplining to do anything.
Listen, anybody, I don't care what you bang, where you wreck, or what you
loyal. Hold on. The only discipline that a gang member would teach is being loyal to your gang. It's just a religion factor. You know what I'm saying? When you're in religion, The only discipline about religion is being loyal to your religion and loyal to your belief at the end of the day, regardless if it's right or wrong. You know what I'm saying?
What is discipline? We know what discipline means, right? Discipline means to obey rules and to correct disobedience. That's what it means. So if we're trying to correct, to obey these certain rules that you need to law, they need to go by certain laws that these children need to follow, then we could be able to mentally teach them about now war tactics. Once we have already taught them on to obey rules and to obey certain laws, and I don't mean just the government laws, I mean we need to set certain laws that a Black man need to follow by as for his future, to look right what's in front of him. That's the goal concept, is what's right in front of you, not what's behind you or what's on the side of you to left you, is what's right in front of you. What you
No, I agree, because you know, white people, they stay on code all the time and they have a code. The only people that don't have a code is Black people. You know what I'm saying? And that's the brother, when you go to research Neely Fuller, he'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? We got to stay on code. You know what I'm saying? But first, I would think before I would have to implement a discipline, because you can't really discipline a grown man. You see what I'm saying?
But that's why I said you start with the children.
You got to start. I understand that, but I'm saying it also because you feel like you could discipline the children. You know what I'm saying? But if that children not yours, then how do you go by? First, you got to go by influencing. Mentally, you see what I'm saying? And then once you can get to them mentally, then you can incorporate the discipline.
But that's what I said.
That's what I would say.
Set certain laws. That's why I said you set certain laws to obey by.
I got it.
You can discipline anybody. Children.
No, I got it. But first, I'm trying to say
laws in your house. It's any way, because I could discipline my cousin's children. I could discipline anybody's children on a certain law aspect. You don't got to beat nobody's children. You got to put a certain law on them to obey by. Once they obey by them laws, then you can persuade and push on to the next aspect.
Right, but listen, Mook, but what I'm saying is, I'm saying the opposite, brother. What I'm saying is, first you get to the brain first, Mook. You know what I'm saying? Then you can incorporate discipline. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that I see it.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong either, but I'm just saying I see it like first you get to the brain. You see what I'm saying? Then once you can get to them, you know what I'm saying? Then we can implicate, because once, like you say, once you get to it or you talk to somebody, right? It's like if I'm a game maker and I want to join this game, first you got to make it seem like, man, it's cool to be in this game. It's cool to be like how the young niggas, it's cool to wear these goddamn pants, skinny man jeans and all this other shit. It's cool to do this. Then once you can get them like that, then you can start implementing, like you say, certain discipline.
Because
you know what I'm saying, for them to follow.
What's Black people's most powerful weapon?
What's Black people's most powerful?
I would say the mind.
Yeah, that too. That's first.
I'm gonna say the mind.
That's first. And what helps? And how do you control the mind? By learning, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, and then how do you learn? By repeating, right? Because you can't learn nothing if you don't remember the shit.
Right.
Agree.
So our most powerful weapon is music. If we notice, when we don't control our music, the music controls our behavior. In the 60s, when you had R&B singers, when they was wooing Black women and stuff, you know, you had Black people more or less married and Black man respecting the woman. When our music changed, our behavior changed toward each other.
MK Ultra.
Because look, if you notice, what's one of the main things most grown men disagree with their women? The music that's played. We don't want to hear popping and locking, dropping music all the time around our children. But you know, a woman like to dance. She don't care about the lyrics. Most women will tell you, I don't care about what them lyrics say. It make me dance. You know, and now so we got all of this music that children will learn music before they learn instruction.
I agree.
I know a whole bunch of children that know music songs before they know the 1, 2, 3s and ABCs and stuff, but can spit a whole verse to you.
I'm gonna add on to that because I agree with you. Because my son, my youngest son, when he hears the azan come on, when the Muslim call to prayer, when he hears it come on, he can say it.
Yes.
But he can't say his ABCs. He can't say his numbers. He can't say none of that. But when he hears that come on, because he hear it constantly come on
because music is vibration, right, bro? And so what we got to understand is that that's know
words are vibration.
Thank you. You'll see. Look, I used to be amazed when I had my son less than a year old. As soon as he hears some music, he'd dance and vibe. I didn't teach him how to do that. That's instinctive. You see what I'm saying? So they've took control of that energy and they've adulterated it. And that's why we be like, man, that's why there's such huge generational gaps. We be like, why are these brothers out here tripping? Why are they on something different? Now we got to know. I hang around, I got, young niggas in my family, obviously. So I know for a fact that what's being pumped on the media ain't the way that a lot of these young cats really be acting, because my nephews don't get down with a lot of the, cross-dressing and all of that. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know is that
that's just trying to demoralize us. I ain't trying to hear that.
Exactly, the emasculation and feminization of the black male. Yeah. And so one thing that we got to understand is that it's an assault on your image, and that is not the image, or that is not the behavior that will help to liberate a people. If we allow the mainstream media to start raising up effeminate men and men who find themselves in prison and all of this different stuff, then that obviously complicates, like you said.
That actually, I'm happy that you brought up the prison part. I do want to bring that up in a lot of topics on prison, because majority of the people that's behind bars is black people.
Oh yeah, we know that. But non-violent crime,
they're treating our black brothers in the penitentiary system. I've been locked up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never been to prison, but I've been locked up, and I know how they treated me down in Florida. And I did almost a year, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? So they treated us bad. Like when I got out, bro, I weighed 220. When I got out, I was only 173. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't from working out. That wasn't from eating good. That's from lack of them feeding us. That's from treating us dirty, giving people extra food. What they're doing to the black people in the incarceration is very bad. They're doing them worse than what they're doing to us out here. They're giving them lack of shit. They're treating them they're putting them in a worse predicament than what they was on the street. You see what I'm saying?
And see and this is why, like we said, when we give knowledge to our people, with them understanding nothing is new under the sun, especially in terms of U.S. politics, man, and how they've been doing it. Like a lot of black people sit up there and be like, oh, they just legalized marijuana, and marijuana been legal way back in the day. Before 1934, it was legal. Even then, when they passed the Marijuana Tax Act in 1934, it just taxed marijuana. Before then, you can go get heroin, cocaine at your local pharmacy.
Methamphetamines, all type of shit.
You see what? Right. Opium,
so this opium. That's what heroin is. Opium. So.
Well, opium, the opium wars. That's I tell people all the time. We got to understand the European built his empire off of drugs. That's how he will always build his empire, whether it's from the pharmaceutical industry or whether it was from illegal or illicit drugs. The opium wars, that's how he invaded China. He been selling to Chinaman opium for years. That's how he built his empire. I tell niggas that whole Willie Lynch theory, miss all that crap. If I got some heroin, don't you think I can get somebody to be a slave? If I get you addicted to heroin, I ain't got to worry about you running away. You coming back. I get you addicted to cocaine, I ain't got to worry about you running away. See what I'm saying? So that's why after generations, you can make certain black men docile. But remember, like Mars said before, it's all what narrative that you choose to employ in your reasoning, because the reality of it is that most of our people were fighters, but they're not going to tell you that. You see what I'm saying? Because the European didn't control all of this land. When he got here, it was Indians here, tons of them, millions of them. So we got to stop acting like when the white man got here, he had 48 large, huge states to work with. No, he didn't.
That man, they had a fight off to get that shit.
They had to fight each other, especially to get it. They was fighting each other and the Indians to get it, to expand. So yeah, we got to take all of that in consideration, man. And like you said, at the end of the day, a lot of us, I think what Mar was saying too, what makes it so complex is that many times when you talk about the children, other people are very sensitive as to how they want their children reared. So yeah, true enough, you can take your little cousins and nephews and nieces and stuff like that and discipline them and get them in the right way. But a lot of times with other people's children, they're sensitive because most people, unfortunately for black people, have that Christian mindset. And so you won't never be able to establish an authority higher than their God.
Not even that. Okay. Not even that. But what I was trying to say is that when you look at the history of our young black youth today, right? Their inspiration comes from a whole new set of other people. They don't get inspiration through listening to Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, none of that. It's just how you were saying. They get their inspiration watching these music videos, looking at Gucci Man. You see what I'm saying? Looking at these gangbangers. You know what I'm saying?
Those are the role models.
That's thinking like that is cool. You know what I'm saying? That's what's into them. You see what I'm saying? And then we got the media and the outlet also teaching our youth how to dress. You know what I'm saying? We got rappers, we got hip hop, they putting on the skinny man jeans. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like you say, that's their social norm. You see what I'm saying? But that's just like how what you would say the missionaries that came into Africa with the Bible, right?
Yeah,
They
the
didn't
missionaries,
so when
they
they
had the
came in
Bible,
there,
we had
hold
the
on. So
land.
when they came in there, they didn't just come with discipline first. They came with a soft voice first. And then
They
once
did,
they
story
got
to
them and
tell.
once they lullaby their ass, and then they hit them with the discipline.
See, I
You
agree
see what
with you
I'm
that
saying?
they
So
did
that's
give us
why
a
I
good
said
ass
first
story.
you must get to the mind first. You see what I'm saying? It's just how they do also if you're in the game. You know what I'm saying? I teach you like, man, it's cool to do this, nigga. You ever kill somebody? It's cool. I'm gonna put this a sack in your hand, young nigga. You gonna go do this. You gonna make that money. You know what I'm saying? So now you enticing me with that. You see what I'm saying? So then once I'm enticing with that and I come on long and I'm in your game, now you hit me with the discipline. You see what I'm saying? Now I gotta pay my dues. I gotta give up my money. Now I gotta play. Now I gotta be the send-off person if I want to get rank. You see what I'm saying? So if they first implicate, like you say, psychology first. I gotta lullaby you to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Then they come with the discipline. You know what I'm saying? They did it with they came with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Other people do it. They even do it in politics. You see what I'm saying? Like you said, they pass these laws. Oh, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do this for you. But then you don't read the whole policy that they got out for you. And then when you go back and you read the whole policy, now you like, damn.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
It's almost they lullaby you to sleep with shit.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
like we said, this is what's gonna happen. Because like we talked about, what are we talking about? We want to see what the end game is, and that's what we want to really try to provide for people is like not just what we're talking about, because you know we all deep off into that. But like we said, let's put some things into perspective. And right now, I think like you said, the climate, what we can see the social and political climate, it's about Black people just getting ready right about now. Because what did they drop clues? What did Joe Biden say? It's going to be a dark winter. Okay. So the thing that we can tell Black people is like we say, okay, what information can we use? Okay, get your emergency supplies ready, your radios, all this different stuff. We've seen Black people get stimulus checks. We see Black people working jobs, and Black people always say, well, they'll kill you. Oh, they're going to kill you anyways. See, you don't know what you have until it's taken away from you. And that's what they're about to do. And so we keep rationalizing it like, well, if I do this, I might get in trouble. Well, when things break down, you're going to find yourself doing things that you never thought you would do. If you got children to feed, and remember, like, what did we say earlier? That it might be a message going, it's a rumor going around that the truckers might start, protesting
or going on strike.
Yeah, going on a strike on November 26th. Okay, the truckers are the only ones bringing food in right now. You think they ain't been programming this stuff for the Hunger Games and all of this different stuff is about to take place. So when we talk about getting all the necessary supplies, contacting your family members, having emergency meetings where you can convene just in case things break down.
Yep.
You see, because when they start snatching up, everybody, like I was talking to this white neighbor, man, he was talking about, oh, I can't do anything about that. I'll just wait till come to my door. I said, you a fool. You a fool. I wish I would. You know, see, this is the thing that we're talking about. They expect for you to be docile. And when they come in there and they snatch up your children and they say, well, y'all have to be split up together, split apart from each other, kids in one area, adults in another.
Right. Like
what are you going to do?
Doing.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? They already doing the immigrants and stuff like that, splitting them up, raping their kids.
Man, bro.
Man. Crazy.
Crazy, bro. That's what you got to get people prepared for. But see, this is why when you look across the spectrum, one thing that you do see is you see us awake. They know that. That's why they sped up they started to accelerate things because the agenda was for 2030. They 10 years early.
Right. It is very the New World Order, martial law, finna come in and kick. That's all they want. And that's another thing that. The only reason why they're doing all this stuff with Joe Biden, Trump, the COVID-19 is so they can start this new world order, so they can start the martial law, putting people in the conducts in certain places, FEMA camps, all that. They've been planning this shit for years.
A lullaby you to sleep.
Right.
Straight up.
So ultimately, what's going to happen?
Left hand doing.
The only ones who are going to survive, that's why they call it Judgment Day, because what did it say that the Most High said, my people would die from lack of knowledge? Because what you don't know, because you're not going to be prepared, you will contribute to your demise, and unfortunately, anyone that you are responsible for, if you're not out there doing what you need to do. And the only way that you can do it is prep. If I think that you exercise your mind enough, you'll open up your third eye. That's the thing. There's no getting around it. They let you know that's on the back of the dollar. That was our end game, was to enlighten ourselves. This was the grand experiment. We took your culture, took your power, transformed it into an empire. That's what we did. We showed you that
the white man really couldn't understand the black man's greatness. That's what it was. They couldn't really understand.
Oh, he did understand it. That's why he's trying to eliminate you. Oh, he understands it very well.
Oh man.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh,
Damn,
man.
I'm talking about. He know now. Oh, he know now. He know everything.
No, he been knew.
But I'm talking about.
You gotta think about it. Even with the French. Remember when Napoleon came in, shot the nose off the Sphinx? They had this period of time where they called it Egyptomania. They were obsessed with black stuff. Matter of fact, Egypt just petitioned the Interpol, which is the international police, because there was a mummy that was sold just recently for like $3,000 or $4,000 to somebody anonymous, and they wanted it back. See, they selling off our stuff, all the graveyard robberies and shit, man. You know, it's insane how much we've let them get away with.
Actually, what is it? France? What is it? France or England has one of the biggest museums for Egypt in the whole goddamn world.
England.
Yeah, it's called the Louvre.
England, yeah. They have one of the biggest goddamn museums about us. How they got the biggest goddamn museum about us?
Yeah, the British Museum, you had the Louvre. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying though. That's why we gotta, you know, start doing better in that regard and being like, okay, well, I gotta start believing. The first thing that we do, just like religion, what sets us off into that new path of enlightenment is first we gotta believe that we can do it. We gotta start believing that I'm much greater than what they actually made me out to be. That's going to be the first thing, stripping away all of those old ways of thought. All of that shit got to go. Even if you train for right now, one of the things that I see niggas be fans of is martial arts. You know, they be fans of training their mind. It's that way for a reason. You got that drive in you for a reason, because like Mar said, we are the warriors. We are the ones that's in this time that was sent to defend this planet. That may seem ridiculous to a lot of people, but that's the reality. That's the position and responsibility we have. And that's what you got to embrace. You can't look at it no other way. Your kid's life in danger. Your life is in danger. If you sit back and think there's going to be a slow run, they are not playing. My man said in Canada, they got the camps already. Matter of fact, in the UK, they got the army distributing the vaccine already in schools. Okay? So this is going to be a situation where...
That's really what the mark of the beast is right there. Once you get their vaccinations and they medicine, you're done for. You're a sellout. You're no longer a part of being a human no more at that point. You're not even a human no more. I
mean, a lot of people have been taking their vaccines for a while now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know.
Right. And this the difference with this one would be, like we said, is that you know, we know that the side effects might be a little bit more severe simply because it's been fast tracked.
Let me ask you a question, fam. When you say, because you know that's the statement that they made, it's going to be a dark winter, right?
Right.
So do that tell you that the clock is ticking? Not only that the clock is ticking, but we need to speed up, because when they say it's going to be a dark winter, is that telling you that they're going to try to kill off so many black people this winter?
Oh man, look,
COVID, if it's through COVID or by other means.
Look, okay, you know, we had Bill Gates in 2015 had a lecture on TED Talks where he talked about a pandemic, right? Now all of a sudden, 2020, you got a pandemic. It was another guy who was on there doing another lecture on TED Talks, and he had talked about how a power outage. Now, interesting enough, there's going to be a solar surge, you know, on around December 24th, which might knock out all the power. Now, in his lecture, he had talked about how in about a day or two, people would loot the stores, all, you know, everything would, because once you go into destruction of property, martial law, everything is suspended. Right. This is what black people got to understand. Only thing that they're waiting on is for you to kick it off so they can throw it into martial law. Then all the stuff you talking about for Kamala, COVID, no, all that's gone. Now we under now you took it to a level where I can't go back.
It's funny.
You
I
That
see
you
feel
what I'm
say
like
saying?
that.
that's been their
It's
agenda the whole time. That's why they've been running around here killing some unarmed black men, because they really want us to jump it off, but we ain't been quite trying to jump
We
it
ain't
off to
been
how they
biting.
want it to be.
You know,
We
it's
ain't
funny. It's
biting,
funny
bro.
that it's funny
Nah,
that you brought up that you said about them that somebody has said about you remember when Obama was finna leave office and they did that big ass press conference and everything before he was finna leave office. He had said in that press conference where he said that there's gonna become a time where we're gonna go through a pandemic. There's gonna be a pandemic that's gonna come and it's gonna be so great, we're gonna try to combat it. And the video was up and everything. He was telling everybody didn't believe it. And
Oh
everybody
yeah.
said, oh, we got enough medicines, we got enough vaccinations, all that to combat any more diseases that come out, right? But he said, no, this one is going to be the greatest one of them all.
Oh yeah, that's called predictive programming. Because like we said before, once they allowed us to convince us that AIDS was real, HIV was real, it was a wrap. Now I can't lie, growing up in the 80s and stuff, I was born in 1980, so growing up, you're like, shit, AIDS scared the hell out of people. And it still do now to this day, till you realize that shit made up. It's not real. It was substantiated through the media, and it's been that way ever since. Matter of fact, it was a doctor by the name of Dr. Wilner who said that he would pay anybody $100,000 to prove that HIV caused AIDS. And he was doing this in the 90s. He was injecting himself with HIV, a white dude, PhD, wrote a book called Deadly Deception. Okay, so this is, now mind you, like I said, this disease started off monkeys in Africa, supposedly now, and then end up jumping African Americans and killing us the most. Just like COVID end up doing what? Started in China, then all of a sudden it affects black people the most. How does that happen? How does a virus have an affinity for a certain group of people? How does a virus say, I want this type of people more than anybody else? That's unheard of. And see, now the only excuse from Europeans is that, oh, it's because black people have diminished immune or compromised immune systems. They're already done, but blah, 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 blah. No,
right.
you're lying. You're
We
lying.
gather up too much. What? I see white people all on the beach kicking it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about?
Because that's where we talk about that fake superiority complex that keeps sliding past us. Because on the low, they say, oh, well, there's no such difference between me and you. And then they'll say, oh, well, blacks are at the height of this, height of that. So then, in medical language, you letting us know we inferior. Again, let me say this. In medical language, you're saying we're inferior. Now, through social constructs, through stereotypes and stuff, that you think that we can get rid of, you can say, oh, once we do this and do that, the Negro can look good and have a great American standing. No. We know that as long as everybody looks at us as the weak link, we never gonna be able to balance things out. And black people have always got the short end of the stick anytime that it comes to anything like this, because like they said, they try to use euphemisms like underserved and underprivileged. Nah, right. We stout. You research us. You know that we immaculate. You know that we don't require as many nutrients as you. So what you do, you pack all these preservatives in your food to attack our immune system.
That's why we all get diabetes and all the other good stuff.
Yeah, well, high fructose corn syrup, which the Japanese invented in the lab. And you put that all in and because blood types are based off your sugar. A and B is a sugar that rises from the surface of the blood cell.
All right.
Okay, so when you eat,
hey fam, what I'm not to cut your wisdom, but what I'm finna do now is finna get ready to close out. I'm gonna give both of y'all 5 minutes to rock out of y'all choosing whatever topic y'all want to do. Who want to start first?
I'm gonna let the brother start because I like him. I like hearing his knowledge. I'm gonna let the brother go.
All right, then you can just close this out, Mook. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, Cuddy. I'm gonna start on the clock. You just go ahead and go up. How you do. You ready?
Right. Oh yeah.
All right. Go right ahead, Cuz.
Oh, well, like you said, your boy Hayru Hain is part of the FOF squad. Facts over feelings, and your feelings at the door, so we can get to the facts. That's how this is. But for the most part, it's about preparation. Time buys you, awareness buys you time buys you options, like my man say. So if we're aware, that gives us a little bit more time. A lot of people running around here, obviously
frustrated because of everything that's going on. So we taking a look at the fear mongering that we see propagated through the media. So a lot of us are on edge. We're like, okay, well, where do we go from here? They saying that the only solution is this so-called attenuated virus, which is a weakened form, which we don't want to say the V word, but we know what we're talking about. They like to censor people. So the reality of it is do we trust him? After all the things that they've been saying, do we trust him? This is the same man who said that he went to the moon, but can't go back. This is a man who tells a really big lie. This is a man that poisons our land, our air, and our water. That's eliminated species, 300 of them every day, it seems like. And then he tells you that he cares about you, that he's concerned about you. This is a man that sprays chemtrails all up in your skies, geoengineering, saying that the sun is getting too hot. This is the same species that one European dies every day, according to the International Center for Cancer Research, which is an affiliate of the World Health Organization. They say that one European dies every day from skin melanoma. So these are the same people who are saying that the sun is too warm, that the world is getting too hot. Can we trust the people who really have a desire to geoengineer the planet to make it more suitable for their existence? Can we really trust them when obviously that's in their best interest to have the sun darkened, to control the weather? We got to start thinking critically here. It's not about, a lot of people say, well, what information can I use? If you're here, you got to start figuring out why you're here. What your assets are, what are your strengths, and how can you be a formidable opponent to those who desire to keep you and your family in chains? You got to start thinking deeply. You got to start meditating. You got to continue to keep working out. Now, when you think about it, you hear a lot of people say, oh, well, okay, I can't eat this way. Imagine when you ain't got nothing to eat. Don't have the European force things on you to get you mentally tough. Just like my man's talked about when he was like in jail, they treat us rough, and you got to literally have a different mentality to go through rough times. You see, otherwise you're not going to make it. So this is the same thing that we're saying. Try to incorporate a lot of these things that you might inevitably go through. You might have to go without food for 2 or 3 days just to help make sure that your children get fed. So when people sit up here and say, I can't do this, I can't fast, trust me, if they force you to, you're going to do it. And you don't want to be mentally unprepared when you are faced with that experience and you don't have the willpower to actually see it through. That's what we're dealing with. And now, so that's why I say that we have to understand what we are, change up our definition. We are solar beings that have the ability to absorb light. That's what our blood does. When they say hemoglobin, heme is an organic molecule. It's an organic ring and it absorbs light. Globin is the protein. Our blood absorbs light. That's what makes it the color that it is. When oxygen and air hits it, we absorb this light. If something was wrong with your heart, they'll put in a pacemaker for electricity. You are radiation. You are a radiation being. Start redefining what you are, and so that you can start tackling this and seeing through the matrix, beloved. That's what this is all about. A lot of people, man, think that, this is far beyond them. No, stop looking at this man like he's God-like. He's the God and the father of the lie. That's about it. And you have embraced the lie totally and completely. And that's one of the reasons why, like we said, a lot of Black people feel hopeless. So they go out there and they become reckless to themselves and to their community. Instead of understanding that the solution is going to be in us galvanizing and coming together. It's in the collective. It's not about here running around thinking that, I can do it on my own, or I got my own family. I'm going to just take care of my business and that it. If they come for your family, you're going to wish you had some people with you. You're going to wish you had warriors with you. You're going to wish somebody is feeling what you feeling or empathetic towards your plight, but nobody's going to be able to help you out because they're going to be going through their own. If you take a look at it's a film coming out called Songbird, directed by Michael Bay, who directed the Transformers and movies like The Purge. This is film coming out where it talks about COVID-19 mutating into COVID-23. This is supposed to come out next year. They called this man tone deaf because you're putting out a movie about COVID while we going through COVID. You see what I'm saying? So exactly, we got to understand that they're prepping us, the predictive programming, all of that, galvanize, get our strength together, become the guys that we know that we can be, and I'm going to pass this off to my man.
All right, that was powerful, man. I just wanted to say, I enjoy y'all brothers. I enjoy y'all input. We should come together and do more of these, you know what I'm saying? For the most part, I do implore everybody to start getting ready. This is just a intellectual stimulation that we do, you know what I'm saying? But the real battle is yet to come.
Yet to
And I
come.
implore that everybody to get ready and get busy. Train your kids, do whatever you got to do, stack up on supplies. You know what I'm saying? Because it's coming. You ready to go, family?
Well, I ain't really got much to say because y'all got me on the off day. I'm gonna have to come at me with some real knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Come
Oh
with some,
man, hey, your
some
knowledge is real to
But,
us, family.
Right.
but really, what I want to say is that we need to start knowing thyself more. We got to start knowing who we is as an individual instead of knowing who we are as a people before we even try to conquer anything else. The first thing I feel like is that we should start off as, like you said, trying to make a self for we can try to help others. Before we can help others, we got to help self. You see what I'm saying? Really, like you said, we should start preparing ourselves mentally and physically. Start preparing because if it's time to go to war, how many people really gonna stand up for us? How many people? And I'm not talking about white people because we have a lot of white people that will stand up for us. That like, oh yeah, black power and all that. But how many of our own people is willing to stand up for when the time comes? Because we gotta protect our children. That's the main goal, is we got to protect our children. If we don't protect our children, then we lost the war. Because if they get to our children going to rebel against us. That's what they do every single day. That's what the media is for. That's what entertainment is for, is to mislead what we are trying to not lead into. So if we go one direction and our children go the other direction, we lost the war. Because now they got inside of us. Now they got to what we care about the most. And what we care about the most is our children. And like I said, I'm gonna come more with some better knowledge, come more with some more information, caught me on the lacking day. But yeah, I'm gonna bring out more stuff, bring out more books, bring out more of the knowledge into it. It's a nice little warm up. I like to build with you brothers. Y'all taught me some new stuff. There's actually some stuff that y'all said I ain't even finna say that I learned today, you know what I'm saying? But that's the process, you know what I'm saying? It's the process of growing and developing, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about growth and development. I want to grow. I need to grow myself, and I need to develop into a better man as for myself and as for the next generation to come. So really, that's how I want to end it. I love y'all. Black power, peace. Assalamu alaikum. Whatever I gotta say, you know what I'm saying?
Hotep,
Peace
brother,
out,
hotep.
more tap, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, revolutionary black power, you know what I'm saying?
Islam, Mo. Islam, Mo.
But yeah, but my main thing, the next topic I do want to get on to is alkaline, brother. Whenever we do, decide to conversate again, I do want to get on the alkaline tip because I feel like starting off with the body first, then we can start moving on to other aspects and teaching other people. And I'm pretty sure that's y'all field, medicine, the body, the whole system, the whole molecular structure is just where it's at. And I feel like that's more kind of where I want to go next with my next subject is on alkaline. You know what I'm saying? What is the best thing to eat for us? What is the, on a nutrients basis, you know what I'm saying? And so, because the nutrients is going to help us combat better with our mind. That's going to make us focus better, certain nutrients, certain cells and shit that y'all know what y'all talking about. That's kind of what my next subject I kind of wanted to be about, if that's fine with y'all.
Oh yeah.
When we talk again.
Oh yeah, we most definitely get it in, family. That's why I was showing y'all the bottle, good cell food. You know what I'm saying? Regulate your pH levels in the cell so your cell won't become so damn acidic. You know what I'm saying? They can breathe.
Because I got diagnosed with gastrolophius acid reflux disease. You know what I'm saying? So I'm when it comes to acidic food or acidic shit, period, it tears my stomach up. And I used to always wondering why, before they told me what I was diagnosed with, but why did I get diagnosed with that? Eating too much unhealthy shit will get you to the point where you cause these problems. They're self-inflicted. Everything that we come to with today is all self-inflicted. When we go out and do something out in the streets, it's all self-inflicted. Can't nobody anything upon you. You're your own person. Now, if somebody point a gun and pull a trigger, you're dead. That's different, but that's a whole different aspect. But I'm talking about itself as wise as life. Everything is self-inflicted upon. I don't care what nobody tells you, everything is self, because if you're causing yourself to go down the drain, that's because you want to go down the drain. It's not because the next person. That's why I said, to me, lack of motivation. I don't know. To me, it's always lack of motivation.
And you know what? I would agree with you, and I am in agreement with you when you say that. But I would like to remind you that even if we eat right, we got this beast that's manipulating all the food, that's manipulating all the water. You see what I'm saying? So it don't matter how healthy we try to eat, we still try to combat what this devil is doing to us. And I mean devil, not literally, but only the great deceiver. You know what I'm saying? But
I agree.
So, you know, long as we keep that in mind, though.
I used to hear people misconstrue, oh, why y'all call white people the devil? I call black people the devil too.
Exactly.
Anybody could be a devil. Exactly. Anybody can be a devil.
Anybody
if you cause this ignorance and you're being an ignorant kind of sort, you are the devil. Because the devil will deceive you and be ignorant. That's what his job's meant. That's what you are. If you are an ignorant person, want to deceive people, want to see people harm, not see people achieve nothing in life, you are the devil.
That's good.
And I feel like if you're your own kind of certain race, you're 7 times worse than what you really are.
Yes. So it was good building with you brothers. If y'all ain't doing nothing tomorrow, we can pick up tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? This was just like a rough draft. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just getting on here, just spilling. Next time we'll have a little bit more decorum. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more structure. You know what I'm saying? You know, put a little bit of time limit on stuff. Everybody can get 5 minutes or 2 minutes apiece, and they can just go in on their bill. You know what I'm saying?
How do you feel about meeting up on certain, like in certain occasions, you know, certain times, you know, meet up and build on certain things?
Oh man, we can do that. Oh man, whenever you ready, bro. Like I said, we can do it tomorrow.
You, like this is what I'm ready for. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not getting old younger. I'm not getting old younger. You know what I'm saying?
Tomorrow.
Down.
You see what I'm saying, bro? You messing with soldiers, bro, that do this. You know what I'm saying? It all depends upon you. Like you said, do you got the time? You know what I'm saying? Do you got the willpower? Do you got it? You know what I'm saying? Because we can implicate this, so we can all come in tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I got the camera, I can record. You know what I'm saying? And we can do it personally, in person.
Because I like this, like this right here is like, if we apart from each other, this is a good building platform for us. You know what I'm saying? I like this, you know, if we apart from each other. But to me, I'd rather be face to face with y'all when I'm talking to y'all, because it's easier to understand what y'all talking about when we in person. You know what I'm saying? To get the feel of the environment. I want to be face to face with y'all, listen to what y'all got to say, so I can actually sit back and observe and construct and understand what you guys are saying. So whenever it's time for me to show up, I can construe what we talking about and not be like, oh yeah, and go off basis and go off topic. You see what I'm saying? I need to know where y'all mindsets at. You see what I'm saying? Where y'all piece of information is, instead of when we go out there, I could just be like, and I'm lost what y'all talking about. You see what I'm saying? Because y'all could be talking about 1,000 different things at one time. Y'all bad with that, but you know, I go piece by piece how I talk. So when we go to a certain aspect, I need to know the aspect y'all we finna hit that moment. You see what I'm saying? Hey, I remember y'all used to this. I'm trying to get used to it, to the point where, see, I can give out good advice, information, I can, but I got to do it in front of people. This camera, you know, being by myself, this, you know, I ain't with that. I ain't gonna say I get stage fright or nothing like that. It's just, it's more intense. I'm gonna say it's more intense. I ain't used to it yet. I got to get used to it. But talking, like, big bro, if you see me talk in person, it's a whole different way how I talk than face on, because I get nervous. Okay, man, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't never.
We ain't gonna worry about all that. This is what like me and Mar always talk about. We don't like no Allen Iverson. You know, you got to come to practice. This practice, and these are meaningful engagements, man, where we sharpen each other's tools, because the reality of it is, man, like you said, motivation. We motivate each other, knowing that when the end times come, which they already here, you know, we got brothers to lean on, and we'll remember this. We, you know, because like me and Mar said, we don't know what's gonna go down, but in the event that something do go down, you don't know if you will be able to see your loved one. You know, if they start saying COVID-19, you're not even gonna be able to bury your loved one. Remember, that's the stuff they're going back to. You see what I'm saying? So this is where it's really going to test all of us, man. Like when it was talked about, it said, man, devastation upon the earth. This is what they intend to do. They don't care nothing about your babies. They don't care nothing about your rent. They don't care nothing about your jobs, your careers, your aspirations, none of that. All that's going out the window.
You see, so this is why all of this is important, is because I mean, for those who do know, yeah, if you're gonna go out, like Pac said, a real nigga pick his way to go out. Because you know, they say that death is inevitable, so ain't no reason to shine away from it, man, like these niggas be doing, like we said, directing their hate toward us, and then yet they cower in front of the establishment. We tired of that type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? But then, like we said, like Mar said, we got to concentrate on those who ready. Like you said, if enough brothers, man, and enough of us get together, we ain't worried about all the rest of the stuff, because we ain't, you know, all these other niggas just gonna be weak links anyways. Until they realize that they're gonna have to be.
If you got 10 strong black men and you got, let's say, 3 white boys or 3 white men, they're not finna come up in there and try to do shit or try to take anything from them 10 black men off rip. Why? Because they see the superiorness, they see the masculinity, they see the how I'm gonna say, because like, okay, let's say this for instance. You remember how they tell us all in school, these Europeans came and took us from Africa, right? I just can't believe that. I can't believe that. And the reason why I say that is because there's no way y'all came into this constructed country, like everything is constructed very to a point where not even known people can destroy it. And you guys come in and destroy everything. That's just, it doesn't seem.
Oh yeah, it was through disease. It was through a lot of different stuff, but this is what we facing now. So like you said, our job from here on out is to train. Just like any warrior, you don't go to the army and they talk about training. You train.
Nah. Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Nigga, soon as you get there, nigga, they give you a number, they start talking crap, and you.
But not only that, cause I would use the analogy of, you're not finna run up on a professional boxer.
Right.
You're going to be timid. Sometimes that's like, you're not going to run up on somebody.
That's a better analogy. That's a better analogy.
This nigga got a skill set in martial arts and with weapons. He shoots every day. You're going to be fucking timid. You see what I'm saying? So that's the skill set in the area that we need to go down. Because like you say, we don't need 10 of us, even though it's like, because when you say 10 of us versus 3 white person, the 3 white person just looking out, I'm outnumbered. You know what I'm saying? I'm outnumbered, I'm outmanned, I'm outgunned. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to that one-on-one, it's like you said, you're not gonna run up on a Floyd Mayweather. You gonna be like, oh shit. I mean, I will if my back up against the wall, but what is my odds of winning? You know what I'm saying, family? So we gotta get that skill set up. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta get it up. And last but not least, like you said, because out of every organism on earth, what do every organism do? They develop a defense system. Plants, animals. You can't, even if it's a nuclear war, nigga, a hyena ain't gonna let you eat it. Ain't nothing just gonna lay down, nigga, and let you consume it. I don't care what's going on. So we gotta be that way. We gotta be like, look, even if it's down near the end of the world, we gotta still have the tenacity about us to defend ourselves. We just can't be like, oh, well, and that's what black people got for Christianity. Like, oh, somebody gonna come rapture them, save them, do away with the body, because the body nothing. And that's one thing we gotta change. The body is a magnificent organism. You see what I'm saying? And we got to treat it as such, because we keep making from dust you are, from dust you will return. No, the skin is the largest organ. It absorbs light. We light beings. The skin is amazing. We got to stop acting like this just something that we just threw over some bones or something. This shit is ridiculous. And so, yeah, like Mar said, we train, like that's what Mar big on. You can see it in his kids. You see what I'm saying? And that's what you love about that man, is that, you know, his struggle and his children is a reflection of his mentality.
That's funny that you said that. Your children do train with you. I forgot all about that. Why don't you make videos of your children training, so children that they see, so you're not just telling, oh yeah, I'm trying to make my child or make your child do some shit that I wouldn't make my own child do. So if they see your children working out, they're gonna be like, damn, other children are gonna be like, okay, my man over here, his children work out, so why not go do that? So that's what they're gonna do.
Because see, look, 1,000 pardons, bro. What I tell people all the time, we can't get into a habit of taking away people's responsibility. Just like, I hate to keep bringing up his name, but Dr. Umar, like, I got a school for boys. These people got to be parents. They can't just make the kids and give them to somebody.
Agree.
You see what I'm saying? And then think about the cognitive dissonance. You train a boy for 10, 20 years, they come back home, they off key with their family. The sister may be dating a white boy, or she may not even be dating a boy. She may be dating a female. Now all of a sudden there's this conflict in families because the whole family wasn't raised on this philosophy. Okay, a village has to be raised by a philosophy. Not, you can't individualize that approach, because then you're going to cause conflict, because unfortunately in this nation, differences are seen as conflict and not as something to be prided that we can learn from. So, you know, and basically what we're dealing with is the fact that we gotta, you know, do our best to understand, like, look, it's a fight. It's going to continue to be a fight, because the people who are, you know, against us have considered us to be a threat, all because, like, you know, our scholars have taught us that we are a genetic threat to them. That's the thing. And when Joe Biden came out and said, oh, we understand that we're going to become a minority in 5 or 10 years, they're doing something about it.
That's right.
He said that because they know they keeping track of the numbers, bro.
Yes, they
And
are.
not only that, their worst fear is this: if they become the minority, then you get more black people in power positions. You see what I'm saying? To where we can be judges, we can be lawyers, we can be mayors, we can be, you know what I'm saying, politicians. So that's what their biggest fear is. Because then if that happened, guess what happened? Now the wealth change.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Now the resources change. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying? And that's what they
Yep.
don't want to give up their power at the end
Oh
of the
no.
day.
Those black, see, but my thing is, those black people that they use, that they put in certain empowerments, don't, I feel like those are pawns. They're pawns
Oh,
that
yeah,
are being played.
but see, they're
Yeah,
part of
of
the
course.
bloodline. They deeper than just pawns. They are part of the bloodline. We got to remember, it's just like what you said earlier in this conversation. They're interbred through generations. They don't even breed outside their own family.
No, they don't.
Everybody knows that. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they're going to have an allegiance. If you notice, that's why, you know, most of them tend to be mulattoes, not saying all of them, but the reality, because they've been interbred, you know, they've been bred
No,
into
you're right.
to the
Look
race.
at me, nigga. I'm light skinned.
And that's what, no, I'm just saying, that's just, you know, it's just a part of the narrative. It just is what it is. It's the same thing they did in Australia. You know, everywhere that they go, they breed in a little bit, because the area in which they find themselves with people of color are in warm areas. So they need that little bit of melanin. So that's why we got to understand, we got to start looking at things in terms of nature, not what man has wrote down in books. What did nature say? You different because I made you that way. Nature ain't about to argue about black, white, whatever. If I made you that way, it's because I either gave you an advantage or I didn't give you one. And whatever your advantage is, you better use it. White man, no, his advantage was not his skin. He knew it was his mind, in terms of understanding that he himself was a weapon. When he came to that understanding, he started using that advantage. He knew that your makeup wasn't like his. You see, he knew that your diet wasn't like his, so he made his reality yours.
Yeah, that's right.
This is why he talk about hell, because he burns. He burns in front, you know, the sun burns him. So of course there would be a such thing as hell to him. But black people don't think about something like that, because the sun doesn't burn us when we go outside.
You know, it's crazy. That's funny that you said that. Shaka Zulu, when the missionary people came to Shaka Zulu said that they told me if I don't believe in Jesus or read their Bible, I was going to go to hell. You know what he told them? He said, we eat fire around here.
Right. You see what I'm saying? And so they knew that at that point in time, they had to kill that nigga off. Or, you know, they had to cause a tribal wars or tribal dissension.
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer.
All right, we done took up enough time.
We went 15, 20 minutes past.
It was good building with y'all. But like, again, I'll get in contact with both of y'all tomorrow. If you were able to come into town or whatnot. Matter of fact, I'll just call you. You know what I'm saying? I'll hit you up. You know what I'm saying? Call you, we'll talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I got you, Cuddy. I'm gonna call you too. So, you know what I'm saying, we can try to get something in tomorrow also.
All right, that's what's up.
Man, and y'all take it easy and be safe.
All right, God.
All right. Love.
Yep.